All right, welcome, my beautiful people. Super excited about today. First of all, Happy New Year. I'm being told that today is the last time we can say Happy New Year. So, this is our first live broadcast in 2025. Super excited about today. Have a lot of information to cover. Let me begin real quick to give you a short overview of what we're going to be talking about. Now, we're going to go and the first topic is just a reminder of some of the new rules when traveling to Europe. We're going to talk about the rise of nature-based travel. Really big. I'm going to talk about that. We're going to talk about JetBlue and the fine the DOT just assessed on them, and you might be owed money if you traveled on JetBlue recently. We're going to talk about travel trends going into 2025. We're going to talk about the outlook of the short-term rental industry in 2025. And if we have time, I want to go over business planning, because if you haven't created a business plan for your business, if you're in business, highly recommend you do, because you're behind the 8 ball. As always, if you have any questions as we're going along, just put them in the chat. Lorena will go ahead and, one second, she'll go ahead and answer any question you may have. And if it's something that I need to answer immediately, she'll pass it on to me. It says, okay, there might be an issue on one of them. So I'm just going to, on one of the broadcasts, I'm going to remove that from here so we don't have any issues there. So again, those of you that are on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, thank you for joining on. Let me see what story I want to go with first. I think what I want to go to is just a reminder of, for those of you that are going to be traveling to Europe, a couple of things you need to be aware of that's going to take effect in 2025. Specifically, London. London has already implemented their EAS waiver or visa, or whatever they're calling it. It's not truly a visa, but if you're going to go to London or some areas in Europe, you're going to have to make sure that you go online and apply, right? So let me just read what it is, right? Travelers to Europe will encounter a new entry requirement aimed to enhancing security and streamlining border crossing. Now, the first one is the European Travel Information and Authorization System. That is supposed to take effect in mid-2025. Now, this is the system that for at least the last 3 years, they've been saying it's going to come on board, but it hasn't come on board. But it looks like in mid-2025, you will have to do this. But nonetheless, if you're planning on traveling there, I would say from April on, go on the website and apply for it. So here's who needs to do it, right? Citizens from visa accept countries like the US, you're going to be required to apply for this European Travel Information and Authorization System visa. The application process is fairly easy. You just go online. It's going to have a cost of €7 or approximately $7.40 in US dollars, depending on how strong the dollar is. Now, the time frame is unknown. So give yourself at least, meaning the time frame for the approval process. They're saying that it's fairly quick, but I'm here to tell you, give yourself at least a 30-day window to apply for this before traveling, right? You don't want to buy your tickets, get ready to travel, apply, a few days before, and it's not approved yet, because they're not going to let you in once this takes effect. So make sure you do that. Now, once you apply for it, it is good, right? It is good for 3 years, and or depending on your passport, because if your passport expires within that 3-year expiration date, you're going to have to reapply. So it's 3 years or less, depending on your passport. Now, that's That's the ETIAS, right? The European Travel Information and Authorization System. Now, there's another one called the EES, which is the Entry Exit System. Now, this is supposed to launch again in May of 2025. Now, the EES is almost the same thing as an electronic record to record who's coming in and who's coming out, right? The system is aimed for the same thing, to enhance security and efficiency. However, the implementation may lead to a longer processing time at entry points. So be aware of that. So plan for that. And here's the people that really need to be aware of this. If you're traveling to Europe and you have a layover, make sure that layover gives you plenty of time for any possible delays in terms of your flight and any delays in terms of getting into the EU via immigration. So don't book a layover that's 2 hours or less, because I'm telling you, you're probably not going to make your flight if that layover is 2 hours or less. Expand that. Now, if you're like me, I like to find layovers that are long, and sometimes I even extend it for a day or two. So, as I mentioned before, one of the travel hacks that I have is that I always fly into the cheapest entry point. It could be Madrid, like right now, Copenhagen. I'm going to be going to Greece in May, and the cheapest entry point is Copenhagen. So I'm going to be flying there. I'm going to spend 2 days there, and then from there, I'm going to go to my destination in a domestic flight. So highly recommend you do that. You're going to save a lot of money and save a lot of headaches in terms of your flights. Now, I get it. Some of you guys are not as flexible as I am. But if you can be flexible, fly direct into Europe, spend a day or two in that entry point, and then proceed on, right? But understand that these two what they're calling visa requirements, are going to be needed if you're traveling to Europe in 2025. Now, a couple of things to consider as well. This is another reminder, because I've talked about this and multiple other STR news. Your passport, right? Your passport, it has to be, don't go by the expiration date. It is literally 6 months before that expiration date. If your passport is going to expire within the next 6 months, they're not going to let you into certain countries, right? You got to have more than 180 days in order for that passport to be valid in that foreign country. So understand that. The other thing to keep in mind is that taxes, or that tourist tax, is going up in certain areas. So for example, Amsterdam tourist tax is going up. It's going to 12.5%. Barcelona, Venice are also increasing or implementing a higher fee to go into those specific areas. Now, again, as I mentioned before, try not to go to these high travel areas directly, meaning if you want to go to Barcelona, if you want to go to Rome, you want to go to Venice, you want to go to Amsterdam, find a smaller city or entry point, spend your time there, or at least a day or two, and then you can visit these entry points. Trust me when I tell you, it's going to be easier for you. It's going to be cheaper for you if you do that, and you're going to be able to see a lot more. Now, again, you have to plan ahead, right? In order for this to work, definitely plan ahead. But very important that you understand that. All right, so that takes care of that. Now, the next one I want to talk about is JetBlue. If you traveled on JetBlue in the last 2 years and your flight was delayed, chances are you're going to be owed money by JetBlue. I've already talked about the new FAA rule that if your flight is delayed for more than 4 hours if it's domestic, or more than 8 hours if it's international, that the airline is required to refund you, right? They can't just give you a voucher. They have to completely refund you for your flight if that's what you want to do. So that's that FAA rule. But in specific, I'm going to read to you what happened to JetBlue, right? The Department of Transportation announced that is finding JetBlue $2 million for persistent flight delays. The fine marks the first time the department has ever charged an airline for consistent flight disruption. Now, why is that important? And the reason that's important is because with the new FAA rule, they're actually going back and looking at these airlines and seeing which airlines are chronically delayed. JetBlue is one of them, and you're not going to be surprised for some of these local airlines. JetBlue, Spirit, and who's the other one? Let me see if I can find it. Okay, JetBlue, Spirit, Frontier, and Allegiant Airlines are chronically delayed, right? They're constantly being delayed. Now, in terms of JetBlue, there's some specific routes. So, and most of them are going to JFK. So if you travel to JFK at any point on JetBlue, most likely you're going to be owed money if you were delayed. So it looks, according to the article that was released by DOT, the flights that saw the most delays was JFK to Raleigh, Fort Lauderdale to JFK or vice versa, JFK to Orlando or vice versa, or Fort Lauderdale to Windsor, Connecticut, or vice versa, right? Those were the routes that were consistently delayed. And now, if you talk to JetBlue, they're blaming the FAA. FAA is blaming JetBlue. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you experience any type of delay on JetBlue, you're going to be owed some money because, according to the fine, and let me read what the fine is again. This is an interesting stat. JetBlue was responsible for over 70% of the disruption on 4 quick floor flight routes that I just mentioned, right? But in here it says how much. A portion of that fee, oh, here it is. You're going to be compensated a minimum of $75 per effective passenger. So at a minimum, depending on how many times you flew in the last year or two on JetBlue and how many times you were delayed, you are entitled for a minimum of $75 per delay. So check your travel history, check to see how many times you were delayed, and go ahead and apply for that, right? Next story that I want to talk about is going to be, and I talked about this before, but Marriott International acquired Postcard, which is formerly known as Getaway, which Postcard Cabins is a unique outdoor experience that they provide for guests, right? So, just picture, a tiny resort in the mountains or in some isolated area. That's what Postcard Cabins specialty was. And let me just read what's on here about this acquisition. Marriott International has acquired Postcard Cabins, formerly known as Gateway, making its entry into the outdoor hospitality market. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Now, Postcard Cabin operates over 1,200 tiny cabins across 29 U.S. locations, all within a 2-hour drive from major cities. Now, this is important because I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. These cabins offered modern amenities, including private bathrooms, full kitchen, providing guests with a comfortable outdoor immersive experience. Now, here's the key to this, people, and this is what's exciting to me, right? I mentioned this before, and if you follow my channel and you follow me on Instagram, in the last, more like 6 months, but over the last year, I have been planning and I've been pivoting my operations to these type of outdoor resorts and accommodations, right? We're looking at tiny houses, at domes, at glass houses, at tree houses, etc., right? So I firmly believe that this is where the opportunities lie. I've been saying this for over a year now. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw what we're doing in Colombia, in Salento. We just went to Buga and we looked at a property in Buga. Colombia, which is about an hour away from Cali, Colombia. But the fact that Marriott is jumping on the bandwagon tells me that I'm on the right track, right? And Marriott's not going to spend millions of dollars acquiring these. They acquired this company and they acquired another company. The other company they acquired is Trailborn, which is also a hospitality brand in the outdoor space. And they have about 559 rooms across 5 destinations, all near national parks, right? Now, what I'm doing is very similar to what they're doing, and that is looking for locations, right? These outdoor areas that we can build these resorts in that are 2 hours away from a major airport or major city, and or a very short drive to, let's say, a national park, right? Which is the Trailborn marker, right? That's their trademark. All their locations are right next to some type of national park. Well, we're kind of doing the same thing. We're investing heavily in that. And for those of you that are looking for opportunities in the short-term rental industry, then this is it, people. And if you want to team up with us, then just DM me and let me know that you're interested in what we're doing with these remote resorts. Again, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. If Marriott is getting into the game, tells me that I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing and investing all my time and effort in these resorts. So that's key. Now, if you're also looking for a property management company that specializes in short-term rental, or you're looking into, or you're currently operating one and you're having a hard time, take a second and just look at this quick video that I made. It's nothing special, but take a look at this quick video and then we're going to talk about it in a second. Let me see if it loads in. I can get this up. No, there's no volume. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it on my end. I don't know if you guys are. If you're not hearing that, go ahead and list it in the comments that the audio is not being played. But anyway, the point of this just a little bit of advertising about our company and how we can provide you with a stress-free work environment in the short-term rental industry, free up some of your time, and really give you some of the stuff that's necessary to be successful in the short-term rental industry. Now, we're going to talk about the outlook of STR. Before I go into that, I want to dive deeper into this outdoor space and why I think it's important. So, this was interesting about the outdoor space, right? There's, at least in the last year, if not a little longer, there's been a rise in outdoor and nature-based travel. If you look at the stats, the amount of people that are looking for an adventure or nature-based travel has increased or doubled over the last 3 to 4 years. Meaning it is the fastest growing travel group in the travel industry. So there's a couple of things that you need to understand in terms of what we are seeing in terms of the travelers, right? Travelers today, they want, and I made a list here. Today's traveler, they're looking for a stress-free escape, right? Most people are, they're still going to the major hubs, and I've already mentioned they're going to the major cities like New York City, Miami, LA in the States, like Madrid in Spain, like Rome and Milan in Italy, like Paris in France. People are still going there, but more and more people are looking for stuff on the outskirts, something that's not as stressful or as hectic. And they're also being health conscious, right? So I firmly believe that because of that, of the amount of travelers that are looking for that, that creating or building or investing in these eco-friendly adventures or accommodations, they cater to those individuals that are looking for some type of adventure and they want to be active in that adventure. I firmly believe that going forward, that is going to be the future of short-term rentals. And if you follow my channel, you know that I have pivoted and I stopped investing in residential homes for a lot of reasons. And I'll talk about some of those reasons in a little bit. But if you want to know why, then just check out some of my other videos and you'll see why. But the rising popularity of glamping locations or tiny cabins, it's huge. There's an ability for the operator to provide a better, unique experience in these type of accommodations. I mean, if you look at Airbnb, they saw it. That's why they created, a year ago, they created what's called categories. And there's been a big push in categories for unique stays. So that's why you're seeing all these tree houses, all these domes. The big one now is glass houses, all these tiny homes. You're seeing this. I don't know what's going on there, but so anyways, that's going to be huge. So if you're looking to get into that again and you're interested to learn more, just DM me because especially like what we're doing in my property in Georgia, I mean, we're going all out on that property. We're creating multiple trails, ATV trails, mountain bike trails, hiking trails. We're creating a nice outdoor activity place where in section of the property where you can take some archery lessons. You can play outdoor events. I mean, we're really doing that place up. So I'm very excited about that. Now, let's talk about some of the travel trends, right? There's a new, you guys all heard the saying FOMO, right? Where there's a new one. It's called JOMO, which is joy of missing out, right? Travelers are seeking relaxation and serene location that are prioritizing peace and prioritizing these remote areas where not that many people are going. So we're taking full advantage of that. And that's why I'm talking about these glamping activities. Now, let's go into the market trends. Let me see if I can find what I just did here real quick. So in terms of STR, if you're an STR operator, here's what's interesting, right? For 2025, the outlook for short-term rentals, it's a little bit like a high-stake game of Jenga, right? It's steady for now, but some of the pieces are shifting underneath the surface, right? So here's what I mean by that. Here's the breakdown, right? Demand is super strong. And I gave statistics on last STR on how this travel season, for example, the holiday season was the highest travel season in decades. Let me say that again. That past travel season was the highest travel season in decades. I can tell you from personal experience, because I did some traveling, whether it was on the road or by flight. My goodness, it was crazy. So I'm going to give you an example. From Fort Lauderdale to my property in Georgia, it normally takes me about 6 hours or less. During the holiday season, it was taking me up to 8 hours. That's how many people were on the road. And it didn't matter the time of day or the day of the week or weekend. It was because I was going back and forth, and it was taking me an average of 8 hours, where it normally takes me less than 6 hours to get up there. On flights, if you saw the news or you were paying attention, there was hundreds, if not thousands of flights delayed. The system for American Airlines crashed partly due to the amount of demand that people were on there, which caused some headaches on Christmas travel. So the popularity is there, but here's what's going to happen in 2025, and this is why I'm saying that the foundation is shifting underneath the surface. Is that today's travelers are much smarter. In addition to them being smarter, staycations and desirable, or what's called drivable destinations, are also starting to see another uptick. We saw this during the pandemic, but now we're seeing a bigger uptick in this type of travel. Why? Because again, flights have become super expensive, and they're going to continue to get expensive. And now with airlines being fined for delays, and now with a new rule that they have to refund you, you're going to see, again, the cost of flights to go up. Now, that's also going to be dependent on gas prices, but you're going to see an uptick, or I believe you're going to see an uptick in airfare, and you're going to see less routes because they can't continue to artificially create these routes that there's no way they can be on time. There's no way they can staff. So you're going to see that coming up. Right? One second. No, I don't know what's going on, but I'm hearing some feedback. I don't know if it's one of the other lines. But anyway, see if you can figure out what's going on there. So anyway, so the demand is there. We talked about the traveler being smarter. And lastly, in terms of this, as I talked about this before, is that OTAs are now building into the algorithm the same thing that other companies like Amazon have been doing with their customers, just like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's becoming more of a specialization for the traveler. Meaning, if you log on to, let's say, Airbnb, based on the data you already provided, they're going to know what you're more likely to book. So they're going to put those properties in front of you. So again, if you like, for example, if you're searching or looking for, let's say, a car, in the next couple of days, you're going to have all these companies bombarding you with ads with cars. They're doing the same thing in the travel industry. It's going to be more personalized. So that is something that we're going to see how that plays out. The next one that we're going to see how it plays out is the continued trouble with regulations. Now, regulations is truly a double-edged sword. I talked about this before. For a lot of major hubs like Paris, like Venice, like Barcelona, like New York City, like Miami, we're seeing a crackdown on short-term rentals, meaning they're being more strict with the type of regulations they're implementing for these specific areas, right? Now, I say it's a double-edged sword because for those of you that are looking to get into the industry, it's just so much harder. But those of you that are in the industry, but you're not doing the right thing, you're definitely going to be in trouble. But those that are doing the right thing and are in the industry and are compliant, you're probably going to see an uptick in your bookings because, again, you're going to see less availability for residential homes. So that's the residential market, right? Now, I've been talking about this a lot, and that's the rise of these unique stays. Again, if you're going into this industry, highly, highly recommend that you get into it, but not with the standard residential home. Right? I recommend that you look into unique experience and unique stays. Hence why we're investing heavily on these resorts. on these glamping sites. I am looking to actually buy some glamping sites or some campsites that I can upgrade and I can convert to what's trending today. We're really looking into that. The next reason why that outlook for 2025 is going to be a little sketchy and is the platforms themselves. I've already talked about how Airbnb has really changed how people do searches on their platform, but Airbnb, Verbal, just to name a few, are emphasizing quality over quantity. If you're not aware, last year, Airbnb, for example, they purged a ridiculous amount of short-term rentals that weren't up to par, meaning if their rating was below 4.2, Airbnb just got rid of them, right? And you're going to see more of that. And that number is actually going to go higher. I firmly believe that if your listing has a 4.5 rating or less, that coming into 2025, they're going to get rid of you too, right? So you have to up your game. You have to make sure that you're providing an excellent guest experience, first-class customer service, because this game is getting harder, people, much harder. Now, the two wild cards, right? The economic wild card is the following: gas prices. How is that going to affect travel in the future? And also in terms of the mortgage rate, right? If lending, not just mortgage rate, but the ability to borrow money, right? If the ability to borrow money continues to be expensive, you're going to see less and less people getting into the industry. Only those people that have actual cash to buy these or invest into this industry are the ones that are actually going to flourish, because there's going to be a huge demand, a lot of opportunity, but if you have to borrow the money, you're going to be in trouble because it's expensive. Now, if the rates go down, then all bets are off. If gas prices go down significantly, then again, that's a good thing. So that takes care of that. Now, one of the things that is going to, before I close out on that aspect, one of the things that if you're going to look into this industry is the fact that you're going to have to stand out, as I mentioned. And one of the ways to stand out is through marketing. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to show you a quick video that I did related to marketing. And let me see if we can get this up. Give me 2 more minutes to see if we can get this up. All right, disregard that. Total fail. Didn't work out. Anyways, and the point about marketing is the following, is that, and I've been talking about this a lot, and that is the fact that you need to make sure, one second, that is the fact that you have to market people. It's especially if you're in the short-term rental game, it has become super, super competitive. And as a result of it being super competitive, we're going to try this again. Anyways, as I was saying, as a result of being super competitive, you have to market. And one of the ways that I'm recommending, now I'm going to pitch Dream Media team here, is the fact that you hire a marketing company that specializes in your industry. So whether you're a realtor, you're an investor in the short-term rental industry, or you're part of the short-term rental industry or in the travel industry, you got to hire a marketing team that specializes in that specific field because of their expertise in and their ability to market your property or business correctly. It is, I'm telling you, it's because the industry is so competitive. If you don't have a solid marketing plan, you're going to struggle. Now, along those same lines, I'm going to go over a business plan, right? If you haven't created a business plan, I highly recommend that you do. A business plan is going to help you in many different ways, but one way in specific is to get you focused on what's important, right? So, and it doesn't have to be big. So here's my business plan. It is a 1, 2, 3, really a 4-page business plan. And I'm not going to go through my entire business plan, but I'm going to go over the executive summary. And in the executive summary, we wrote Dream Vacation Rentals by PMI combines short-term rental management with full-service travel agency to offer an all-in-one travel experience. Our mission is to provide personalized, right? You're going to hear that a lot in 2025 because every company is focused and is trying to provide a personalized experience. But going on, a seamless vacation planning and property management service that exceeds the expectation of the traveler and the property owner. Now, with a focus on concierge service, innovation, and customer satisfaction, we aim to become the premier vacation rental and travel agency in our region. Now, again, that's just the executive summary. Within it, I put within my business plan, one of the things that you should have is your business description, what type of target market you're trying to go after, your market analysis. So for us, for example, the global short-term rental market and travel agency sector are expected to grow significantly and driven by increased travel demand and preference for a personalized experience. I already talked about how this past holiday season was the highest travel season we've seen in decades. And we believe that this is going to continue in 2025 and 2026. So that's part of that. Next thing in your business plan, you need to identify who your competitors are and how you are different from them. Then you need to have a organizational structure. For example, for us, I'm the CEO and founder, but within my team, we have property manager, travel agency, a marketing team, a virtual assistant, maintenance, cleaning. That's part of our organizational structure. Then the services that we provide are, and then the next big one is our marketing strategy, right? Like for us, our marketing strategy is brand identity. That's why you see our logo. I'm always talking about Dream Vacations. So branding is going to be huge. Then the next big one is digital marketing. People, if you are running a company, you need to forget the old traditional marketing strategies that you've been spending millions of dollars on. You need to go digital, and that digital marketing plan needs to be specific. You should really triple and double down on that because that, if done right, that's where the people are. People today are on their phones. They're not watching TV anymore. So TV commercials are obsolete. They're not listening to the normal radio anymore. So radio advertising is obsolete. Magazine advertising is obsolete. Take that money and invest it in digital marketing. The next is for us is more collaboration and partnerships in 2025. Streamlining our daily operations, working and looking for more technology to be more efficient. Identify our key markers or matrix, and making sure we're fine-tuning those key matrix, and our financial planning, which is our revenue stream. Now, just to go over, from our company, where our revenue streams come from, right? We get paid through our booking commissions. We get paid through our travel agency fees and commissions, our concierge service upgrades, our consulting business, landscaping, maintenance and handyman work, our real estate sales, our digital marketing, cleaning. Those are 9 ways that we bring in revenue into our company. Now, you should also have a projection for your upcoming year in terms of projection, in terms of revenue, and project projections. What type of projects you want to get into? What do you want to do with your business? And then your growth strategy. That should be part of your business plan. If you don't have a business plan, I recommend you get one, do one. They're very easy to do today. You have lots of tools to help you build that. So there's no reason why you can't be part of or can't create a digital marketing plan. Now, the last thing I'm going to go into, what time I got left, is going to be our financials for this week. Let me share my screen. I'm going to go very quickly through here. And let me change. Let me go to analytics. I'll let this load for a quick second. All right, here we go. So we brought in last week. Again, last week was holiday week, right? Christmas to the 28th. We brought in almost $70,000. We had 359 books. Our occupancy rate was at 84.64%. Average daily rate was $222, and our RevPAR was $188. Now, when you look at our increases, they were substantial last week. Again, as I mentioned, holiday travel was insane. It was truly one of our highest grossing months. December was in a very long time. So in terms of revenue source, Airbnb came in number one at 34.8 thousand. Booking was at 13.25. Marriott was at 10.5. We were at 5.6, and all others were at 5.7. RevPAR, we have 466 for Lake Worth, 461 for Lake Worth, 466 for Miami, 338 for Fort Lauderdale, all others at 157. Now these RevPAR numbers are super high. Again, December was a crazy month across the board for anybody in the travel industry. And the numbers show it. We're looking to see if this upcoming spring is just as good, which I firmly believe it's going to be. January for us here, January is a good month. It's not as high as, let's say, April and March. But we'll see how the next couple of months go. I firmly believe they're going to be phenomenal months. Anyway, my beautiful people, that's going to conclude this. Thank you for listening. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow me on Instagram. If you want to have a chat with me, buy me a coffee. Again, if you're looking for a property management service that specializes in short-term rentals, give us a call. If you're looking for a media team, then give us a call. And if you're looking for any type of travel deals, also give us a call. Love you guys. See you in the next one.